This is a song for the good girl. Who's been through it all for a good girl. One time, this is a song for the good girl. Don't sleep when you know you.
Before we jump into today's video, I just want to say yes, it is a little late. I was supposed to do this on Friday. However, last week I did test positive for COVID. So luckily, thank God, I am okay. This time around, it was a little, my symptoms were a little milder compared to last time. However, I was still very much sick and I was out of it. It was really horrible. But at the end of this video, I will go ahead and post when I did my at-home test, just because this is my first time. I've never done one before, and I did like 4 of them, so I'm gonna go ahead and post that and everything at the end of this. But yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and give that disclaimer. So that's why this is coming so late. So I'm filming this today on Tuesday on the 8th, I want to say, yep, on the 8th. I'm going to edit it today and post it today as well. As you can see, that's one of the things I have to do today. But yes, so we're going to jump. Hey friends, and welcome back to another episode of Freedom Friday. So today we're going to be talking about an emergency fund. I'm going to give 2 different experiences of my own that made me realize, I need an emergency fund. And then also the 2 steps that I started to take, well, the 2 steps that I took when I started my emergency fund, and how I came up with the dollar amount that I needed for my emergency fund, and then also the the time period that I was gonna start. So basically, how long was my emergency fund gonna last me? So, let's go ahead and get it. So my experiences. So the first one is obviously, it affected us all, COVID. So in 2020, I should have gotten it started after this, but I'm a creature of habit, just like all the rest of us. Thank God, I was living back at home. I didn't have any income coming at the time. The world was shut down. I wasn't getting a stimulus check. I didn't get any unemployment, like nothing. Eventually, that stuff ended up coming, but it took me months to get that. And like I just mentioned, thank God I was living at home, because if I wasn't, like, I would have lost everything. And so, like, shout out to my parents. Like, I was living at home, but they paid my car, they paid my insurance, they made sure that I had money, like just all the different things. Like, it literally took care of me for a few months, like on top of me living here. So like, I will never ever take that for granted. Like, and I thank them so much for that. And even at this time, I didn't have any money, no income, anything like that. And I decided to start looking into different ways to make money on YouTube and stuff. But being a creature of habit and stuff like that, I didn't take that time. I didn't devote that time, appropriately to myself, to invest into myself, and actually take that stuff serious to make money. And that literally would have been the time to do it. And now that lasted from from the lockdown, March 2020. I didn't go back to work until about the end of July, beginning of August of 2020. So that's about 3-4 months of just no income, no nothing. Now, because I was dipping my toe in like a little bit of like, the investing and, just saving up and making money and different stuff like that. I realized at that point I should have an emergency fund. However, being a creature of habit, I just didn't do it, And so then that ultimately led anything that would happen, I would just have to pay for that out of pocket. So hopefully, nothing too expensive would happen at a specific point in time for me, or, hopefully something wouldn't happen, or, just anything like that. But, it's life, you never know what's gonna happen. And so that's why I should have started my emergency fund then, but I didn't. And pretty dumb. And so that leads me into the next scenario or the next experience. So fast forward, 2022. So, I'm sitting here, my taxes are done for the 2021 time period and everything like that. So I received a letter from the IRS. And, I was super excited. Like, so it basically stated that I didn't have to pay any federal taxes, everything like that. So I got it. I'm like, super excited, like, oh, I get to keep all my my returns, like, everything like that. Like, I'm pumped, all that. So, fast forward a few months later, so it comes like April, all of a sudden, like, I'm at Wawa and I'm trying to swipe for literally like gummy bears, like literally a little roll of gummy bears. And so like maybe like $1, $2, if that, and my card declined. And I'm just like, that's weird, let's try again. So swipe, decline. Let's try again. Like, okay, this is a little embarrassing. Like, what? So yeah, still declined. So I take a step over, I pull up my account, boom. State taxes came out. Now, I wasn't expecting that. Now, like I said, I read the letter, but clearly not in its entirety. The state tax ended up coming out and I did not have the money for it. Like, I overdrawn my account by like so much and everything. And this is where, again, thank God for my parents, because they unwithdrawn my account, or unoverdrawn it, however you want to say it, you know, but they gave me the money to fund my account, plus gave me money until I got paid again and everything like that. Now, granted, I do have to pay them back and everything like that. So it was like just for help. But if I didn't have them, especially because I didn't have my emergency fund, like I would have just been screwed like for the next week and a half or so. So just like huge shout out to my parents once again and everything. And, you know, huge lesson to me. One, these are two huge experiences that like happened to me that like, I realized I need an emergency fund. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, no way around it, especially after this whole tax situation happened with 2022. Like, and like granted that my taxes are paid, like, so I didn't care about that, you know, they're paid. However, I just needed the funds after, and you know, now this emergency fund for anything such as that, if it does happen. But now that I know, it ain't happening ever again, you know. But now with those two experiences happening, now I'm going to jump into when I started my emergency fund, which actually wasn't too. Now, when I started my emergency fund, it literally just happened. Like I started that at the end of Q3, and I've been learning about learning about emergency funds for a little bit and reading up on them and just watching different YouTube videos on them and everything like that. And I see that a lot of people do it in like 3-month increments. The most popular one is like 6 months. So that's where I'm starting at. I'm starting with the 6-month fund, just literally like that's half the year. So if anything was to happen, that'll cover me for half the year, plus say anything like a tax situation or just a broken car part or just anything is to arise, like it can cover that plus some. So I am starting with my 6-month emergency fund, and then I'm just gonna grow it from there. Now, I'm never gonna stop investing into my emergency fund just because you just never know what's gonna happen. Like, why not have the funds? Now, I guess once I reach a certain limit, I guess I'll like slow down, but I'll just keep it going with, you know, the cost of living and then also me living within my means. Whatever I feel, however that increases as I make more money, you know, my emergency fund is obviously gonna increase. But you know, we'll just see how all that goes when it happens. But with me starting my emergency fund, the first thing that I did, you guys know I already track my expenses. I decided to list them all out for the month. When I started listing all of my expenses, I started with my fixed ones. So basically the fixed expenses, what is gonna stay the same month after month, what is never gonna change. So for me, basically, my cell phone bill and my car note. I know those two is just the set dollar amount every single month. So I got all those out of the way, and then my variable ones, and I guess I can add my subscriptions into the fixed ones because as long as I have those aren't gonna change. And then I have my variable expenses. I listed those out as well. So these are basically the dollar amount can just fluctuate anywhere throughout the month. Now I went ahead, because I already list all my expenses at the end of every day or at the end of every other day. I track my expenses, I'm sorry. I already have my categories in my expense tracker. So, you know, like eating out, groceries, having fun, how much money I'm taking out of the ATM, you know, just all these different things like shopping, you know, all these different categories. So these are all variable for me, you know. And so granted, after tracking my expenses for the last year, on and off for the past few months, but in its entirety for the past year, after tracking my expenses, I realized that there's a lot of areas where I need to spend less. And so what I did when I was making my emergency fund, I gave myself an allotment of what I'm allowing myself to spend for this month. Like I won't go over that. So like shopping, for example, I know for that month I won't go over $200. Eating out, for example, I know I'm not going to exceed $100, you know. Now I don't know that that's eating out for the month, you know, but like, you know, hopefully, you know, that may end up just becoming a goal of mine, actually, if I'm being totally honest, you know. But and I say eating out because I'll include, you know, if I go out to the bar or anything, or like to the club or anything like that, I'll include that stuff into that. So it just all really just kind of depends for me. But I just started listing out all those different expenses. And then once I got I gave myself that wiggle room for that dollar allotment. So just in case I spend a little more, like this is just my max to spend for that month. So I offered myself that. So after I came up with those numbers and everything, and I did all that, I just multiplied that by 6, and that's my dollar amount. And now granted, I do have some wiggle room because I've decided to round up. So I feel like that'll give me wiggle room just in case anything is to happen. Plus I can still, you know, pay my bills and like, you know, whatever might occur. Now granted, it is just basically my car and my phone. However, those will definitely be covered for however many months there is to come. Let me say for the next 6. Another reason that I gave myself this wiggle room as well, with the rounding up, is also say a real emergency does happen. Hopefully I can have as much extra or as much as possible in my emergency fund, so that way I don't have to dip into, you know, my checking account or a different savings account or anything like that. Like my goal for this emergency fund is to literally fund whatever emergency that might arise at any point in time, you know. And then also, if it is like a mass thing or like, you know, another lockdown, another shutdown, anything like that, just anything, it can sustain me for some months to come, and that being my bills plus living. Now granted, I would live below my means at that point, well below my means, depending on my financial situation at that time, but however, gives me that wiggle room. I think that everyone should have an emergency fund. I just gave 2 experiences of my own of why I started one, and that should just be enough for anyone to want to have one. And then also, like, we all experienced the COVID lockdown together. So like, if that wasn't enough to make you want to get one, or like to start one or look into like different streams of income, or, you know, just learning a little bit more about making more money or just protecting yourself when it comes to money, then baby, I don't know what to tell you. Or I guess this is what I'm telling you, to get started, you know? And when you get started, it doesn't matter how much you get started with. It doesn't matter when you get started, unless you don't get started today, then it matters. But it doesn't matter how much you get started with, you know. It just make that decision, make that effort, and just jump into it. You know, it is your future and your livelihood that this is gonna help impact positively. But when it comes to my emergency fund, as you guys know, I have a high interest savings account with Bass Bank, and they are who I decided to put my emergency fund into. Now granted, you can have more than one savings account. You can have I'll get into that, but you can have more than one savings account when you're with them. And then also, so when I opened my high interest savings account not too long, literally the end of Q3, they were offering 3.05 APY. I just got an email the middle of last week when I was going through, you know, the height of my COVID log isolation. They bumped mine up to 3.60% APY, you know. So, you know, it's just a really good time to get started. It's easy to get started. There's no minimum. Like when I started mine, it stayed, I didn't even fund it for a few days, you know. So like, now granted, you do have a time period that you have to fund it before they close it, but, you know, but just thinking of that APY, just imagine how quick your emergency fund is going to build up plus some. And now granted, when I first started, I only put $100 in, and within a few weeks, I already hit 12 cents of interest, you know. And so it might sound small now, but the more money you invest into your your high interest savings account, emergency fund, the more you invest into it, the higher it's just going to like increase, and like it just drastically, it's going to start to compound. So just go ahead and get started now. And no, this is not what's the word, like, Bass Bank don't know that I'm talking about this, you know, so I'm not getting anything out of it, you know. This is not an ad or anything like that. So, you know, this is just me just like really happy with their product. And now when I talk about the different savings accounts, like you can have obviously more than one, but they also have another option where if you like American Airlines, you can open that savings account, and every dollar that you invest would turn into 1 point. And again, this is not an ad, this is not anything like that, I'm not getting paid, but that's just something that I'm going to also take advantage of as well. So just explore your options, get that emergency fund started, get it open, start thinking about it. And I really hope you learned something from this. My name is Adante. This is my journey to financial freedom. There we go. And friends, get started with that emergency fund. Like, you need it, I need it, we all need it, and it's only going to protect you in the end. And I'm only here to, you know, just give my experiences, give what I'm learning, and to share it with you guys in hopes that you can learn something, which I hope you did. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Follow me on Insta, and see y'all on this Friday for another Freedom Friday, friends. So, peace.
This is a song for the good girl. We've been through it all for a good girl. One time, this is a song for the good girl.
Hey friends, what is up? So please just bear with me for a little bit. I'm like feeling so under the weather, like, so I'm not all like I normally am. I'm all but I have been sick the past few days, and now it's time I do this. I've never done this by myself, so this is gonna be, I have all my instructions and everything, so this is gonna be super duper intense. I was sweating all night. Like, I changed my clothes, took my pajamas 3 times. Or was it 2 times? Because I had when I fell asleep and then I got up and changed. And then I got up, yeah. So 3 times, like, y'all. Up to 3/4 of an inch. How fucking long is an inch? Test set 1 or test set 2. How do you know? What is that? So each one has 2 tests. So I have to do both nostrils. I have to do both nostrils. So do I do both with one? I'm so confused. But wait, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't use it. Oh my gosh, it fell. Can't use that. So that's contaminated. I don't like this. Y'all, I'm struggling so bad. So I hit the ground and it's contaminated. I just still don't understand. So to collect the sample, insert that in my nose, brush, 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 brush. I'm gonna blow my nose first, y'all. I'm so nervous. This isn't something I'm really comfortable doing myself. Oh my God. Oh my God, I don't even think it went up far enough. Tap the tube vertically on the table and twist the large orange cap. Okay, attempt number 2. Wait a second. Are you fucking kidding me? It hasn't been 15 minutes. How the fuck is this positive? Yo, I'm really doing a take number 2. Because why the fuck is my test positive? I just stopped wearing a... Y'all, I just started going outside. I just stopped wearing a mask 2 months ago. And you really fucking tell me I get fucking COVID? The T-line can be extremely faint. Well, bitches, mine ain't faint. I'm gonna go get another one. I'm back with 2 more. Yeah, but coming back positive, or like any type of test with the doctor, you never want it to come back positive. I think this is so crazy. And I'm sitting here laughing and whatnot, but I'm fucking pissed. I'm supposed to have an event this weekend that I'm supposed to do for balloons. How can I do that? How in the fuck can I do that? I should show y'all what I'm doing. I'm playing Doctor, y'all. So I guess this is what catches the COVID. Here's the new one, 3 drop. I don't do 15 stars, I do 15 seconds. Okay, child. My good friend Justin got me saying that, child, baby. Welcome to Vegas, baby. So clearly I'm starting to feel a little better. I thought I was gonna go, not that nose hair. I thought I was gonna go get me some breakfast. I can still go get breakfast. There's a drive-thru. Okay, here we go. But y'all, yeah, I'm gonna be in the house all weekend because this is the 4th one. And those lines are there. There's nothing left. Like, I'm not sticking anymore on my nose. Like, I just have COVID. So what if, you know, in a few days, I test myself again and it's still coming up positive? Does that mean that I'm just doing it wrong? Or, like,
Damn, son, where'd you find